and welcome to Symbols and Cynicism, a podcast where we talk about all of the things that I love, some of the things that I hate, and this wacky adventure that we call life. My name is Bob, I'm your host, and I'm glad you're here today for Clone Wars Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2, and Tech Download Times. Let's get started. Welcome back to the program. A couple of things before we get going today. Number one, I neglected to mention last week. Dawn and I have been going through, as your homework, a 6-week series of books that we've read that we think you might enjoy, or this last one was books that we plan to read in the summer. Sometimes we love to have summer reading lists. That's a great time for teachers to sort of catch up and relax with some reading. And so we had this 6-week series, and I neglected to mention that in last week's show notes is the full spreadsheet of all book suggestions. So if you missed one or didn't write something down, go back to last week's show notes. There's a link in there that'll take you to a Google Doc. I also shared on social media this past week that lists via video format, so you can go back to our Facebook, to our TikTok or Instagram pages or YouTube and find that video. Number two, glancing out my window today indicates to me that it is garage sale season. So, you know what that means. Look out for idiot drivers slamming on their brakes for seemingly no reason. Look out for people that triple park like morons in the middle of the street. They're just going to stop in real quick to pick up that one thing. What about people throwing open their doors without looking? It's going to be your fault when you hit them, even though it's their fault for being morons. And what about those people with their door open into the middle of the lane of traffic trying to fit that king-sized mattress into the back seat of their 1985 Honda Civic? Eyes on the road, be aware, the idiots drive among us. On today's show, we have arrived in Season 3 of The Clone Wars, and we are talking about Episodes 1 and 2 today, and tech download times? Let's roll. Clone Wars Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. Just a 2-part arc today. Usually arcs in Clone Wars are 3 or sometimes even 4, but this one is a little different. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is these were aired back to back, but they aren't actually chronologically linked together. Clone Wars did not air in chronological order. It's all mixed up, but these two go together anyway, so we're going to talk about them together. We find ourselves on Kamino. Kamino, just a reminder, is the homeworld of the Kaminoan cloners. We first visit Kamino in Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan is on an investigation. He goes there, he meets the Kaminoans, he learns about the clone army they're creating, he meets Jango and Boba. We've been over that, we just talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Jango and Boba Fett. Well, in addition to the cloning facilities here on Kamino, there's also a training facility because you can't just make a clone and grow a clone. You have to train them to be warriors. In the movie, if you've only seen Attack of the Clones, Episode 2, then you've seen the fetus clones, like in their little glass incubation tubes, and then we sort of turn around and we see them sitting at computers as adolescents, 10 or 11, 12 years old, something like that, learning, and we see them fully grown, or nearly fully grown anyway, eating together, having a meal. We see them being issued their armor even. There's this big like conveyor belt like in an airport when you get your luggage, and they're picking up their helmet and so forth. And in the background of one of these shots, we do see a little bit of hand-to-hand combat training. It's very distant, it's very small, it's easy to miss, but by and large, we don't see any military training in the movie. That's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is that there is this clone army. And remember, clones are created with age acceleration, so they age twice as fast as normal. Well, here is the training. In these episodes, we get a pretty deep dive into how this works. We also get a deep dive into some political and some personal and some social issues with the clones. We'll get there in a minute. In this episode, we focus on 5 main clones. Their names are Heavy, Cut Up, Droidbait, Fives, and Echo. And we'll get back to more of these guys in a second. They are a group of clones that are a team. They're called Domino Squad. Also prominent in this episode is Jedi Master Shaak Ti. She is tasked as the commander of the clone training, along with 2 bounty hunters named Brick and LS. That's E-L-L-E-S, not the letters L-S, it's like L-S. And they are assisting Shaak Ti in the training of clones. Before we get into it, let's talk about clone names. We've never really talked about this on the podcast, but the other day I had a conversation with somebody and I mentioned clone names and they were confused about clone. Do they have names? Why do they have names? Etc. If you have only ever watched the original trilogy, then you probably have no idea about clone names because those aren't clones. Those are stormtroopers. And if you've only ever watched the prequels, you don't really have a clear sense of their names. There is some names tossed around. Obi-Wan refers to his main clone as Cody. I think Anakin refers to Rex, but there's not a lot of it being thrown around in the movies. A lot of it in the Clone Wars and the other animated series. So long story short, the Empire eventually will do away with the cloning system because for one, it is way too expensive. And for two, with the death of Jango Fett, they are running out of first-generation genetic material. One of the reasons to keep Jango Fett on Kamino and give him a place to live is that you can continue to go back and get new, refresh your genetic material in order to make new clones. When Jango dies at the end of Episode 2 in Attack of the Clones, first-generation genetic material is now gone. Boba's not good enough. Boba's material would be second generation, and that is not as pure. The clones would be more likely to be faulty. Most of it probably was budget. The Empire begins using people who either volunteer or are drafted, conscripted, to be their troops. They rename clone troopers into stormtroopers, and those are the troops that we see in A New Hope and beyond. The clones are phased out after Order 66. And we'll get to that another time. If you want to get more information right away, go watch the Bad Batch animated series because that deals with a lot of this topic. The Bad Batch is set just after Revenge of the Sith. It's before Rebels. It's before the Obi-Wan series, etc. And a lot of it is the phasing out of the clone process into the stormtrooper process. They overlap there. If you're wondering how someone could sign up or volunteer to be a stormtrooper and do the bidding of a fascist government, then I would direct you to the history of World War II. Germany had volunteers do some very, very bad things. If you want to know how people can volunteer to do such horrible things, that's a good place to start. This is not a political podcast, of course, but science fiction does reflect reality, and it is here to teach us stuff. So how can stormtroopers volunteer to be stormtroopers? Well, how did Nazi Germany get volunteers to be Nazis? Moving on. Anyway, clone names. So when a clone trooper is created, they are given a serial number designated by CT for clone trooper, and then a number, and it's basically the order in which they are created. So when you hear someone in the Clone Wars refer to CT-4178, that is telling us that he is a CT clone trooper and the serial number designation, and that would be a unique number. There is only one CT-4178. One of the main recurring topics throughout the Clone Wars animated series is this: are clones people or are clones property? Clones tend to think of themselves as people, although they do struggle with this at times. Because they think they're people, they also give themselves nicknames so that they can use names instead of just CT and number. Sometimes those nicknames are just names like Cody or Rex, two very popular clones that we see throughout the series. Sometimes they're nicknames that describe their personality or specific characteristics, like Cut Up, who tells jokes and is sarcastic, or Echo, who repeats commands, and they call him Echo as a joke. So they get their names in a lot of ways. But if they're clones, how can they have different personalities? How can one repeat things and one be stronger and another one be sarcastic and tell jokes? Well, now we're talking about nature versus nurture. Think about identical twins. Do you know identical twins? They have the same genetic material, but they don't all have the same skills and all the same personalities. Clones are very similar. They also tend to receive specialized training throughout their training process, and that allows them to develop different skill sets. So why is one better with shooting and one better with technology? Because they were trained differently. This is not a process where they just all go to high school and all learn basically the same material. They're pigeonholed into things. You're going to be a tech person, you're going to be a marksman, and you're going to be this, and et cetera, et cetera. You're going to be a pilot. So while there is a base level that everybody undergoes in their training, there are specializations. Along the way, through this training process, they're trained by different people because, of course, the tech people have tech people training them, and you would pick up the different personality traits of the different people. So they have different personalities because they have different experiences in the training process, and of course, once they're on active duty, they obviously have very different experiences because they're assigned to different planets and different assignments, and etc. Clones tend to use each other's nicknames unless it is a highly intense military situation where they need to be professional. So you see clones using their names like Echo and Fives and Heavy unless the boss is around, and then they'll use CT-4178 or whatever the number is. Jedi respect clones as people. They spend a lot of time interacting with their assigned clone troopers. And if they know their names, they tend to call them by their nicknames. Highly ranked military tend to use serial designations. And it's pretty easy to tell who thinks that the clones are people and who thinks that the clones are property. If you believe clones are people, you're going to use their names, if you know it. And if you think the clones are property, you're probably going to use their CT number. It makes them more anonymous, and you don't have to worry about sending them into battle to get killed. Back to the clones and their self-reflection for a moment. Yes, they use each other's names. Yes, they think of themselves as people, but they do also have a lot of difficult self-reflection around this issue. And we see this throughout the Clone Wars series. After all, look, they were created for battle, and they understand that. They know they're clones. They know why they were created. They were created for battle. They were created to die. And a lot of the military see them as expendable material. And so clones see themselves as people, but they also realize they were made for one purpose and one purpose only: war. In the end, Star Wars, as a series, does see the clones as people in general. Yes, a lot of clones die throughout the war and beyond. It is a story of war, but it also builds a lot of emotional, impactful connection to certain clones throughout the process. And we'll see that a little later in our discussion, even today and beyond. The moral of the story is also about how a society treats its veterans. Clones that survive the Clone Wars do have a second chapter. Toward the end of this series, we'll see them struggle with what's next for them. All they've ever known is war. It's literally why they were created. So when they get to this, the war's going to end, what's next? It is a huge problem for their psyche. When they survive, we'll see that struggle. The Empire ignores them. They cast them aside. The Jedi care about what's going to happen. Of course, Order 66 happens, and then all of that takes place, and the Jedi aren't largely around to help them survive. But we'll see a little bit of that in the Bad Batch too, so be careful there. Lots of cross-conflicting stories here. Ultimately, the purpose of the clones was to start and sustain a war long enough for Palpatine to gray the situation and then flip the script and turn the clones into the bad guys. Once that was done and the Empire had no need for clones, they cast the clones aside. There is a truly heartbreaking moment that is really easy to miss in the Obi-Wan series. When Obi-Wan first goes looking for Leia and he's in the city and he sees a homeless clone who's using his helmet to beg for credits. What a horrible, heartbreaking moment. Clear evidence that the Empire doesn't care about the clones. It ignores their PTSD. It ignores them in society. It doesn't employ them past their usefulness. Remember, folks, this is just a kid's show, right? No, it's not. Why do I love the Clone Wars so much? Because all of this is in here. It's not in the movies. The movies don't bring these social issues to light at all. The movies don't make us think, and the cartoons do. This is deep, deep stuff when you start to think about it. Okay, back to the story.
Back to the story? You haven't even started the story.
Shut up, Sid. Anyway, back to the story. We open on Kamino in a part of the training facility known as the Citadel. If you're of a certain age, like around my certain age, this looks maybe specifically intended to look like American Gladiators. Do you remember American Gladiators? If you don't remember American Gladiators, it's probably on YouTube. Look it up. Anyway, so we see this, it's called the Citadel. And right away, we see one of our members, Echo, is repeating orders. And then we see Heavy with a huge gun. And we see them bickering and not succeeding. They clearly don't get along. The trainers, we get a view of trainers. There's Shaak Ti and Brick and LS. They're conflicted about what they should do. Should we reject these clones? They clearly don't work together. They clearly didn't learn everything they needed to from their training. Or should we give them more chances? Is there hope for these people that are not behaving in the way that we want them to behave? Because of the variations in the cloning and training process, look, not every clone turns out perfect. There are variations in the training. There are variations in the cloning, and sometimes they don't turn out great. Next, we meet Clone 99. Speaking of things that don't turn out great, clearly, physically at least, a defective clone. Physically, he is not fully formed and not correctly formed. He has been rejected and he is put on maintenance duty. And he's one of those people that everybody kind of knows, right? Brick refers to him. The clones of Domino Squad clearly know him. He is around. He's on cleanup duty. He handles those kinds of businesses, and they all know him. As the episode progresses, we will see the clones bickering on each other and blaming each other for their failure. And a few times, Clone 99, who they refer to as 99, steps in and tries to help. And they clearly have a certain affinity and love for 99 because they do respect him on a certain level. These clones are given chance after chance after chance, and it's actually 99 that finally brings them all together and focuses their efforts to join together. Between 99 and Brick, who is just sort of a jerk to all of them, that kind of galvanizes them together a little bit and gives them the resolve to go at it one more time. Also during this time, speaking of names, you can see there is some interesting interaction between the clones themselves about whether they accept their names or reject them and so on. They aren't sure whether to accept the names. Like there is this social struggle. We're created for CT. No, we also have names because we have different personalities. Really, really interesting interactions. They don't always get along with each other. They argue. They disagree. They fight. Ultimately, haven't we all worked with people that we don't get along with? I mean, that's part of life. There's two ways to handle it, though. One, you, like Brick, you give up. You reject them. You move on to the newer, to the better. Get this out of my way. I don't want to deal with this. This person should be rejected. Or you could retrain, correct, and allow them to build something by seeing them and their faults, and that maybe those faults can be made into positives. You know, they're complaining about their training. They're complaining about, they have complaints about the process, and maybe there's some validity there. maybe their complaints are somewhat valid and that the authority figures need to find a new way to connect with the clones.
Are we still talking about Star Wars?
Shut up, Sid. In the end, the clones find a way to work together and succeed by building on each other's strengths. Let's let Heavy be Heavy. Let's let Echo repeat command. Let's use each other's strengths together instead of battling against each other. And they know they're up against it. If we don't succeed, we're done and we're on maintenance duty. They succeed, they're heralded as success, and they get to be official clone troopers. In episode 2 of this arc, we see that training put to use when Kamino is under attack by Ventress, who's there to steal some genetic material. Ultimately, Clone 99 saves the day and pays for it with his life. If you watch these 2 episodes back to back, you can now prove to yourself whether clones are people. Did you feel something when 99 died? Did you feel bad for his physical state in the last episode? Did you feel badly that he was sort of cast aside into maintenance duty when really he has a lot to give? Did you feel proud that he was an integral part of the team in his own way? And did you feel sad when he died? Star Wars believes that clones are people, and science fiction teaches us about ourselves. What becomes of Domino Squad? Well, by the way, some of the nicknames of the squad do reflect their personality of the corporate group as well. They're nicknamed Domino Squad because they fail so often, and oftentimes they appear to fall like dominoes. So what becomes of them? Well, we see at the end of our second episode here, Echo and Fives are made into ARC Troopers, which is a promotion. ARC stands for Advanced Recon Commandos. That's the upper, it's like the Green Berets, probably, if you want to look at it that way. Echo we'll see a lot of. He continues to serve in the Clone Wars for quite a while. He'll eventually join the Bad Batch, and he's got a long story. I'm sure we'll get into it later. Super cool, very interesting. Fives, we'll see a lot of him as well. He meets a tragic and sad end in a later episode. By the way, he's named Five because his designation is CT-5555. What about Cut Up, nicknamed because of his sarcasm and his jokes? We'll follow him for a while as well before he meets an end, and we'll see him again. Heavy, that's H-E-V-Y, there's no A, it's sort of misspelled there. We'll see him again at the Battle of the Rishi Moon, which is a really important moment for the Domino Squad. And how about Droid Bait? How to get his name? Because they always send him out sort of as bait to get shot up so that they can go around the back. We'll see him also at the Battle of the Rishi Moon. Ultimately, this misfit cast of characters is referred to as, quote, perhaps the finest soldiers I've ever seen, end quote. That's Shaak Ti says that. Later, when they come to their individual tragic and mostly heroic ends, we see that when given another chance, because Shaak Ti and LS saw there was good inside, they didn't just see the flaws on the outside that that you can't be bothered with those flaws, that people, when given a chance, can end up being a successful, very valuable member of the team. Lives were saved because Domino Squad was given a second chance. Or you can toss them away and move on and let them fend for themselves on the streets. Obviously, what's the best decision? The commanders here chose a second chance, and that turned out to be successful. Obviously, that's the decision of the leadership. Shut up, Sid, for the last time. Aren't we all glad we listened to Shaak Ti and gave them a second chance? While these episodes at first glance seem like maybe filler episodes to start a season, when you start to dig deep into the clone lore, these episodes mean a lot. Not only do we go on and see Domino Squad throughout this season, not only do we talk about PTSD through this and whether to give people a second chance, also in this episode, Brick refers to Domino Squad as, quote, bad batchers. It's the first time we hear this phrase, And later in season 7, we'll even have an episode called The Bad Batch. And obviously, an entire series is devoted to the concept of the clones that are, air quotes, different from most clones. All of that, the Bad Batch series, the Bad Batch episode, all started right here in this episodes with Brick referring to Domino Squad as Bad Batchers. Interestingly enough, Echo from Domino Squad does become a Bad Batcher officially with the Bad Batch much later in the story. Great stuff in these episodes that impact a lot of the story moving forward and give us some real deep insight into the Star Wars galaxy. Man, I love Clone Wars, and you know I love Star Wars. Go watch some Clone Wars. Hey, Matt, happy birthday.
You know, I got to tell you, this has probably been the worst birthday I've ever had in my entire life.
Worst birthday? What's up with that?
No cake.
No cake?
No cake. I haven't had any cake today.
Well, but I did pour you some bourbon.
You did, yeah. I mean, it's close to cake. It's got wheat in it, so it has cake ingredients.
Yeah, I mean, close enough. We've been doing some cocktails recently, and we thought we'd throw it back. I don't know if it's throw it back. I think it's a lot of people, certainly for me it was, like the entry into bourbon. This is base level. This is lizard brain bourbon. It's just bourbon and Coke. That's it. That's the cocktail. We don't need to describe that. It's bourbon and Coke with ice.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with bourbon and Coke.
No. In fact, I tell you what, I remember when I was on had to have been the Colors of Love tour with Brian Culbertson. We had Memorial Day off. Mm-hmm. And we went golfing. And they had an all-you-can-eat buffet, like bratwurst, hot dogs, hamburgers. But they also had, wait for it, a Jack and Coke icy machine. And that, I mean, I don't want to say I'm a bourbon snob, but like, I don't just pair bourbon with Coke. I do if it's a bad
Until today, it's been years. I don't remember I couldn't tell you the last bourbon and Coke that I had.
Now, cherry Coke? I do it with cherry Coke.
Yeah?
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. But yeah, that Jack and Coke icy.
In the fall, I don't do a lot of bourbon and Coke, but in the fall, man, I love bourbon and apple cider.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that's good.
Man, pour one of those. Again, you get the sweet, you get the tart, you get the spicy, you get a mix of flavors. It goes down super smooth. Back deck, fire table, crispness in the air. Oh man, that is a delight. When I mix with Coke, it's usually, like you said, just very cheap. I would never mix my $65 bottle of Angel's Envy with Coke, right? I mean, this is more, you hear a lot, Jack and Coke sort of a thing. And why is mixing with Coke such an entry-level sort of idea? Why do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any scientific evidence to base this off of. But I think a lot of people, like, they want, this sounds bad, like they want the effect of alcohol, but they don't want to taste the alcohol.
Right.
So let's mix it with something.
Right.
And that's really where Mountain Dew came from. Is if I remember correctly, the inventors of Mountain Dew wanted something that paired well with moonshine to knock off the heat from the moonshine. So they made Mountain Dew. Now I don't know if it was with the carbonation and all of that stuff, but they mixed that with their moonshine so that they could have the effect of the alcohol without the actual taste of the alcohol.
I can see that. I think that having carbonation involved is pleasing. I think it's satisfying. I like carbonated beverages.
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of that in normal cocktails. I also think, when you talk about things like Manhattans and juleps and old fashions, and like those are so complicated. There's muddling, there's 4 ingredients, there's lots of things involved. And when you talk about bourbon and Coke, that's it.
Pour and pour.
Pour and pour. It's a little bit about ratio and what you like as far as ratio is concerned, but you don't have to worry about having great bourbon on hand. You don't have to worry about what the rate, like dump some ice, Coke, bourbon, done. And there's something very raw and limbic about it. I think it's cool. So yeah, that's our cocktail for the day. Bourbon and Coke.
Bourbon and Coke.
Bourbon and Coke.
We've really gone off the deep end with this thing.
Well, things have gotten bad. Things have gotten bad with the economy and all things. So let's talk about this was a topic. Harrison and I talked about this a week or so ago on the podcast. You were involved in our DCI Fantasy League.
I was.
Yeah, you have a team. Yeah, you drafted a team.
I did. Right.
Your team name. Tell us a little bit about this. Matt's Marvelous Marchers. Tell us a little bit about the derivation of that name.
So it goes back to first grade. In first grade, part of our literary exercises that we went through were tongue twisters and alliteration. Mm-hmm. And so my alliteration that got posted on the wall was Matt makes marvelous macaroni.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. And so when you asked for a team name, I thought, you know what? Matt makes marvelous marchers.
I mean, you were right on the ball with that name. It
Matt's
was right on the
Marvelous
tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Because I said, hey, everybody needs a team name. And bam, you texted right back right away, Matt's Marvelous Marchers. So I like it. We've talked on the podcast about the draft and how the draft worked. But I want to go through your team and kind of get some of your thought process about who you drafted and when. Round 1, let's go just right straight through here. Round 1, you picked brass right off the bat. Blue Devils brass in round 1. What was the thought process there?
Were they the best available? They were not the best available.
No, they were not. Santa Clara Vanguard would have been available because I drafted Santa Clara in round 5.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I think the Blue Devils brass, they're consistent. I would say Santa Clara Vanguard, considering the fact that they've filed for bankruptcy, aren't always consistent with their brass. But I'm pretty comfortable with Blue Devils brass.
Okay.
They're pretty good.
Yeah. There are years where they are right there, certainly. Last year was a rough year, so maybe they'll get it back on track for you this year. Round 2, you went Visual. Great pick here, in my opinion. One of the best picks. Visual. Boston Crusaders. Visual. Great pick by you in round 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of really good picks here, but I think Boston. I struggled in picking Boston in a lot of categories because you think about like cores that come off of championship years, other than the Blue Devils.
For sure,
it's tough.
No, absolutely,
it is really tough.
After Blue Devils aside, cores usually have a pretty significant drop in the year after a championship.
Right.
Totally.
So I mean, but I think Boston annually has a very good visual package that.
Great visual and great guard every year have been very, very consistent. Yeah. And I hope it's just, I picked their guard in round 1, so I hope it continues. So you picked Blue Devils round 1 brass, guard, visual round 2, both high picks, although maybe a bit controversial. Now, round 3, take me through this. Round 3, there was plenty of great stuff on the board. There was Boston Crusaders General Effects still was on the board. Blue Coats Guard was on the board. Santa Clara Brass, Santa Clara Guard. But you went Troopers General Effect.
I mean...
11th place, 10th place Drum Corps last year. You went with them, General Effect, in round 3. Can you take me through your thought process there? Because that was a bit of a shocker pick.
Well, it's like any good Uno card player always has a wild card. And you've always got to have a wild card. And I think the Troopers GE, I mean, you take into consideration their brass, their percussion, their guard, their visual. I mean, they're all okay. But when you look at the Troopers over the last couple of years, like their general effect, I mean, if we were basing it off of reveal video general effect, I think the Troopers are number one.
If we base it off of use of coffins in a drum corps show, they're on top of the heap.
Done.
They had, I mean, I love a lot of the Trooper shows. I mean, they have the cello girl on top of the oil derrick. They've had the coffin with the revived. I mean, they've had really, really great moments. The harmonica player on the elevated lift. Some really great moments. So you're telling me you reached a little bit, but you think you've got a winner there. You're comfortable with that pick.
I mean, this would be like picking the Colts secondary in an NFL fantasy draft.
Yeah, they suck
Like
too.
they're terrible, but I mean, they could have a good year.
They could have a good year.
At some point.
Anybody could have a good year, right? Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. And now, to be honest with you, at this point in the draft, after round 3, Troopers general effect pick, I'm thinking, okay, Matt knows this year we're doing draft order based on the alphabet because we have not had. Next year's draft order will be based on this year's results. We'll do it more traditional, right? Worst team picks first. So I'm thinking you're tanking for a number 1 draft pick next year. That's my thought process. But then you go a completely different direction. And in round 4, you pick Crown's guard, which I think is a pretty solid, great pick.
Yeah, I think considering where I was standing at this point, that was a solid pick. I got to throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, you were definitely all over the board. I kind of think maybe like were you just throwing darts? That was kind of what I was thinking too. Because in round 5,
I'm better at darts. Sometime you and I should play darts in the little text message game, pigeon games.
I'm terrible.
We should play darts.
I'm terrible.
I would kick your butt.
I'm terrible at all of those.
Every single
Harrison and I play those on like when he's on the way to track, like a distant track meet. He'll send me a little thing. I am awful.
There's a friend that I play with quite a bit, and she does not like playing darts against me.
No, you're the
I
wizard.
kick her butt every single time.
Now, for round 5, the Santa Clara brass was available. Number 3.
Why do I feel like you're insulting me?
Ranked brass. The Blue Stars brass was available, but you chose to go beneath all of that, and for the Cavaliers, one of the worst top 12 brass lines from last year, you picked the Cavaliers in round 5.
Is this the point where I say back in my day?
Sure, you can go ahead and do that.
Okay, I mean, back in my day, they were good.
They were good.
Yeah, I mean, you start thinking about frameworks and
Oh,
007.
my gosh.
I mean,
Yeah, the
spin
best.
cycle.
Oh, the best of the best.
Let's talk about that for a minute. I mean,
it was only a quarter century ago.
I'm that old.
It's fine. You're talking about 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it was 20 to 25 years ago. Yeah, it was. The Cavaliers have fallen on hard times, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Remember that show they did, 15 Minutes of Fame?
That's a great show.
Oh, I was going to say nobody remembers that show.
Since that, from about that time, that like 2000, that was like, I don't know, 2013, 14. They've had really great thematic shows that just aren't executed all that great.
That's fair.
Like
I give you that.
15 Minutes of Fame and this show called Immortal and Propaganda, like shows that are
Propaganda was
man,
good.
this is gonna be
Extraordinary was
cool.
good too.
Extraordinary. Oh, I love that show. Men Are From Mars. That was a great show.
I mean, you can have great shows, but if you suck, you suck.
On Madness and Creativity, that like their design is good. They don't have the talent. They don't have the talent. That's my opinion. No. So, all right, that was round 5. We're gonna go on to round 6. You went general effect here. Carolina Crown, general effect. That was a pretty solid pick for a round 6 pick.
Well, good. I'm glad you think so. I mean, I appreciate the vote of confidence.
I know you love Crown. You've always loved Crown.
I love Crown. I mean, I have a Crown trumpet.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Round 7, finally, you have not chosen percussion yet, but in round 7 you went percussion. They were the best available at the time, Blue Stars Percussion.
Bring it on, baby.
Pretty solid pick. Then round 8, visual, you went back to the Cavaliers, Green Machine.
Yeah.
Cavaliers there. Round 9, again, this is another off-the-radar pick, a non-finalist drum corps in round 9, the Madison Scouts.
You know what? I feel like this is their year.
I hope so.
I feel like this is their year.
I hope it is.
I mean, every drum corps, every once in a century, finds their time to shine.
That
And
magic.
I think this is it.
You know, they were a perennial finalist until the last, they've been out of it for a while now, but they were always in finals. They were always a crowd favorite when they were doing Malaga and Malagueña and all the jazz and all of that sort of stuff in the 90s and early 2000s. They were never going to win. They do have a championship in the late 80s, 1989, I think. They were always a crowd favorite, right? I mean, Madison's theme was, we got 99 problems, but getting you out of your seat isn't one of them.
That's right. That's right.
That's still their thing, but it's out of my seat to go get a hot dog. That's the problem. So I would love to see them back in finals, or at least sniffing finals. Your last pick, you needed guard in round 10. Available guards ahead of you at that time were the Blue Knights, the Spirit of Atlanta, the Scouts, Pacific Crest, and Music City. But you went with the Academy. Inexplicably, you went with...
I've already used the wild card excuse, so what am I going to do now?
You've already used the wild card excuse. You've already used the it's their year. You've already used the they're coming back after a time off and they're going to peak. So what do you got? The Academy Guard did have one really great year recently. The Drum Corps Bride. They were a really great guard. That was a really great show. That next year, the guard soloist who played the groom in the Drum Corps Bride and the guard and visual staff all left and went to the Crusaders, which was the year they did the David and Goliath show. And the groom from the previous Drum Corps Bride was David in the David and Goliath show, and eventually that staff is still with the Crusaders and had led them to a championship now in 2025, and the Academy has not been the same since. But you apparently feel like the Guard is going to have a really great year.
So what you're telling me is that the 2032 Boston Crusaders are going to win a championship again.
I hope so. I love the Crusaders. But let's talk about the Academy Guard. What do you love about the Academy Guard? The Mel Kiper of DCI Drum Corps right here, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, there's so many things about the Academy Guard that, their attention to detail.
You have no idea. You have no idea what their show was last year.
Their attention to detail.
What was their show last year?
Their effects.
You have no idea. What's their show this year?
The Academy?
Yeah.
Well, they haven't said anything yet.
Yes, they have. They have revealed it. They have revealed their show.
If they're going to be like the Blue Coats, they're not going to announce it until halfway through the season.
They told us weeks ago.
Or no, that was Phantom Regiment.
It's called In the Center of the Ring.
Oh, well, see? If you throw a bunch of bowls on a field, then you're going to be fine.
I know. No, I think it's more like circus.
So the guard's going to have a bunch of red flags. That's what you're telling me?
I don't think it's bullfighting. I think it's more of a circus.
Oh, okay.
Center ring theme.
Okay. All right.
Not.
So like Horton Hears a Who circus, or
so yeah. Well, so I played out this summer's Drum Corps Fantasy League using last year's scores. You ended up dead last. Not real close. I mean, you have one top 3 rated caption from last year. You have let's see, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The Academy was 16th last year. You have their guard.
we made semis.
Yeah. No, yeah, you did. Yeah, absolutely.
Give us some credit
I
here.
mean, I don't know why you didn't pick the battalion just straight across. And let's get this. So here's the good news. If you end up last, you get the first pick in next year's draft, and you could pick the Academy Guard.
No, I'm going to go with Troopers Brass.
We're gonna do a keeper league, so you can keep the Academy Guard and pick Scouts Percussion.
Oh,
It's gonna be perfect.
not Music City's GE.
I mean, you can if you want.
They're not going to make prelims.
Gold visual.
Cold visual.
Watching some of watching some of these quote unquote bad drum corps like the Battalion and Gold and Crossmen and Spartans and these bottom semifinals, like it's like it's like when we watch track and the last place kid in the 3,200 meter race who looks like they're running really slowly, even in like the girls' race, right? And 3,200 meters is about 2 miles. It's roughly 2 miles. And it's like, man, that kid is slow. And then they cross in like 12 minutes and 45 seconds. And I'm like, they would beat me by 3 minutes. So, we're making fun of the Academy and the Battalion, but they're still pretty high quality. Still pretty high quality on.
Yeah, I mean, they're all right.
So thanks for some of your insight on your Drum Corps Fantasy League team here. Excited to see how this plays out. We'll check back with you throughout the season to see how your team is scoring, and maybe you can get out there and coach them up at some of these summer rehearsals. And I'm sure they're going to try to do well just for you. That's how fantasy teams work, right?
I mean, I'll go to some of the warm-up circles and I'll give them a little pep talk.
Yeah. Yeah, you can give them score high. I need the points.
Yeah, and then get arrested.
Yeah, pretty much. So, hey, have a good week, Matt.
Thanks.
That's it. No. Breathe. Find your happy place.
Tech download times. Movies, software, videos. It's all the same. You click download and the pop-up window says download time something. Download time 5 minutes, but 20 minutes later you're still watching your screen and that stupid little progress bar is only 10% of the way across. Or download time 4 hours. So you go to mow the lawn and you come back to check it in 1 hour and it's already done and your computer's asleep? What's that about? Or maybe the worst? Download time 5 minutes, but 2 minutes later it jumps to 2 hours and then back to 10 minutes and then back up. Why can't they find an algorithm that will calculate my internet download speed combined with the size of the file and do a simple calculation? I know it's not easy because things change, speeds change, internet connections fail, but 5 minutes to 4 hours? I feel better. You feel better? I feel better. Homework for the week. Was listening back this week to Nicole Byram's episode a couple of weeks ago. If you didn't listen to it, it's a great discussion about teacher mental health and what things you can do in the summer to get back to normal. Go listen to the whole episode if you can, but here's the big 5 suggestions for your summer, and I wanted to do a quick review of those because maybe you forgot, maybe you listened to that, you were still in school, and now you're on break and ready to think about what to do this summer, or maybe you didn't get a chance to listen to that episode or just missed this spot. There's 5 big things. She calls it her big 5. Number 1, good food. And that does not mean fancy, expensive restaurants. This means quality food. In the midst of the school year, we can get mired in fast food, sweet treats. We get off pace with carry-ins or staff parties. So choose now to eat fruits and vegetables regularly. Drink more water. Reconnect with healthy eating. Number 2, good movement. Take a walk, ride a bike, do some yoga. It doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be, I need a Garmin and a pair of running shoes to do this. Just move. Number 3, good connections. Meet a friend for a healthy lunch or a walk in the park. Go visit your parents. Go visit your children if they don't live with you. Maybe a friend that is not a teacher that you haven't seen in a while because your whole life revolves around teaching. Sit on the back deck. Enjoy a sunset with a friend. Number 4, good effort. What's the project you've been putting off? Do you need to weed the landscape, put in a pathway, clean the garage? Maybe it's not something you enjoy and love to do, but something that when you're done, you'll have a feeling of satisfaction. Do something with your hands that takes effort. And number 5, connect with your spirit. Meditate, pray, find quiet time alone to think. Whatever that means to you, connect with your inner self and focus on something that's bigger than you. Doing all 5 of these things every day will still only take a fraction of your day. You'll have plenty of time for a nap, to lay in the sun, or whatever it is that you need to do that's all that other stuff that you consider fun. Okay, that's the show. Make sure to leave a rating, drop a comment, or send a message on the app of your choice. You can text the show with a link at the bottom of the description. You can check out our merch store at themarchingarts.com/RHS and our YouTube channel at Robert H. Sloan RHS Music. I hope you'll join us next week for Sid's Top 10s and Why Doesn't Salt Stay on the Pretzel? Thanks for joining me today. The theme music is Superfly, written by me, copyright RHS Music. The show logo is designed by John Suh, and our producer is my sister, Kathy. I hope you'll join us next time for more reflections and rantings on symbols and cynicism.